going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Facts and Stats episode. This is now episode 96. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and appreciate all the support that I get from around everything Facts and Stats. I have two guests here with me. I'm allowed to introduce yourself. I want to go ahead and get started.
Sosa picks, man. Not much else to be said. At Sosa picks. Glad to be back, Ev.
Yes, sir.
Good to be here. Dmac Wake 316. Good to be back on Facts and Stats, recapping info weekend and a little bit of NBA news too. So let's get into it, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you both for joining me this morning. I know the last time I recorded, and even the last time y'all was here, it was NFL Week 3. We talked about disappointments, likes and dislikes, Super Bowl, playoff, and all of that. But before we get to the NFL talk, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up to some text messages, start of space. And I'm like, huh? What happened? James Harden got traded. That kept me up for like 2 hours. I couldn't even sleep. Sosa, I know you are a Sixers fan. My initial reaction to when I seen the trade was, before I let Sosa go, God bless. He got to go where he wanted to go, which typically happens. Kevin Durant wanted to go to the Suns, AD wanted to go to the Lakers, and many more. Paul George wanted to go to the Clippers eventually. Many more things that happened. Harden now ended up in the same exact Clippers team with Paul George, with Kawhi, and reunited with Russell Westbrook. I'm happy for him. I like this fit. I like the situation. I just hope that, and I said this literally last week on my space, that I hope the Clippers can be healthy in the playoffs. And this even gives me more of a reason to want to hope and see Harden, Russ, PG, and Kawhi in the playoff setting. Obviously, Zubac and the season so far that Bones is having, and they kept Norman Powell and kept Terrence Mann. Could be a good, and they also got PJ Tucker. So I like their little 9-man rotation. I think they'll be rolling out. I think that just puts them among with anybody in the West. Obviously, it's still a good matchup with Denver. I don't think anybody has anything to slow down Jokic, and I think that their best five and the Clippers' best five would be a fantastic matchup. So I like the move personally, Sosa. You're probably on the opposing side of that. I don't know how you're feeling right now, but I'm interested to get your thoughts right now. And then Dmac, how you feeling about it?
I mean, I think it's a mixture of two things. Am I happy that he's gone? Yes. I'm not a James Harden fan. I'm not a James Harden disciple. I've never followed him around like he's Jesus. So it's really he gave us one good season, a couple of 40 balls in the playoffs. We didn't get past the second round. From a basketball standpoint, the Clippers got better. There's no conversation to be had. They got a guy that can initiate offense, make plays for other people naturally, while the two guys who are their best players are relative, ISO scorers who get it for themselves, but they're not really great playmakers for others, even though they become better, more efficient as their careers have continued. From a basketball standpoint, it helps the Clippers immensely. And not having to give up anything spectacular. Rocco, who else? Marcus Morris,
Robert Covington.
Yeah, Rocco. I mean, he's back. Really.
Rocco, Marcus Morris.
Did they give up Batum, right? Yeah.
Batum. It's nothing special. We got some picks for him. Listen, Daryl Morey got what he could for a 33-year-old that's clearly lost a step. I'm happy. I'm happy with the decision to get rid of him. I think it's Tyrese Maxey's show. Am I going to be happy about the compensation that my team got for a former league MVP? Because that's how they always phrase it on TV or on Twitter. It's always going to look bad. Like, when a league MVP gets traded, or former league MVP, when do you ever get exact value or equal value? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we got assets. I think it opens up the door for another move. I would love to see Zach LaVine in a Sixer uniform. We also know that this guarantees that Tyrese Maxey is probably going to get this max extension here in the next week or so. That's a formality at this point. And I wish James Harden the best. He's been a loser his whole career, and he went to go play with two players that are have paper mache bodies. I hope it works out though.
Okay, D-Back, how you feeling about it, man?
The Los Angeles Clippers are the Los Angeles Chargers. They both reside in LA. They're the second team in the building. They're the second team in the state as far as their actual sport. Third team in fair point.
Maybe fourth.
I'm putting behind the Kings. That's a very good point. They look great on paper. James Harden fits with what they want to do because, like you said, they need an initiator of offense, a little bit extra scoring punch from the perimeter. but it's not going to work. It's the ultimate loser, and James Harden is the ultimate loser. Going to the ultimate losing franchise that has now gone to its third iteration of this win now type of scenario that has not worked and has not come close to working at this current moment in time. And why would I believe that now it's going to work? So those are my personal thoughts. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I really don't think I am. We'll see what happens. But I said this last night in the space. Nothing that happened this offseason, in my opinion, changed me going into this season and looking at the Nuggets as what should be the favorites as defending champions, because the level of basketball that we saw from them in the playoffs, nothing on paper looks like it's going to be able to come together and play at that high of a level. And again, we got 82 game sample size to kind of look at to see if that comes to fruition for another squad. This James Harden trade doesn't suggest to me that they will be playing at that high of a level in the playoffs. So we'll see. But those are my general thoughts.
Yeah, you both definitely watched and witnessed this guy on your roster. Obviously, in the Brooklyn run, he got hurt. He tried to come back and help Kevin Durant out while Kyrie was gone. Sosa, the last 2 years, you see him in the playoffs, and ultimately was a letdown. Not just because of him, but with Joel Embiid. So don't want to get that misconstrued or anything like that. What you want to say?
Yeah, I also don't want to downplay the 240 balls in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Like if you told me, if you told me that a guy besides Joel Embiid would get 40 and two times in a series, I would say we won the series. So I don't want that to be remiss. Like I thank him for that, for those 2 games.
Okay.
Yes, and I said when he came back in the playoffs for us, I respected the effort. But there's also the reporting that came behind why he got hurt in the first place that makes me feel like, okay, I don't know if how committed this guy is to winning. So yeah, that's my personal thoughts. And obviously, we know what happened when he actually did want to trade. He put on a display of not playing basketball, but still somehow logging minutes that made me disgusted.
So I heard prior to airing, you said before we move, you said that this makes up the favorites in the West. Did you say that, or was I tripping?
No. I never. I
Okay.
want you to misconstrue what I said. I said
Yeah. I had to make sure.
100% from a basketball standpoint, they got better.
Right.
There's no questions in regards to that. They got better.
Yeah.
Now, there's a plethora of things outside of just James Harden in regards to the way that this organization functions. You know what I'm saying? They have a narcissistic billionaire as their owner who will buy anything. So he doesn't care about the money. He just wants to win at any cost. And they're building a new stadium. They're gonna have 4 guys that are 5-6 time All-Stars or more on the same team. So tickets not going to be a problem. These are all guys that have legit fan bases behind them outside of whatever organization they played in, and they're all playing for an organization that's not the first one they've played for. Mm-hmm. So, it's 4 guys that he just like. Listen, I'm gonna whatever you guys want. I'll put whatever it is to get into it. Because again, at the end of the day, he's not looking to turn a profit from the Clippers. This guy bought the Forum for cash and then built him a brand new stadium. He doesn't care. He just wants to win. So, I respect it. And again, from a basketball standpoint, they got better. But God doesn't like ugly.
I will also say this, and I've said this at the second that they made the deal because I was a big fan of the star player that they sent out at the time. That Clippers trade for Paul George was you either win a title or you significantly regret this trade for years to come. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a bona fide star, if not budding superstar in this league. They traded in a haul of draft picks that would make Xavier Prokhorov blush. It was a haul, and the Thunder have put them to good use to this current moment in time. And obviously Presti's done a great job there. They will regret this trade if you do not get a ring out of this iteration. And I think that we've reached this is your final shot to get the job done, because they all their first round picks are maxed out. We know Kawhi and Paul George and James Harden and Russell Westbrook are at that advanced age. This is either you win or you die as far as that trade is concerned.
Pretty simple. I think the main thing is if I don't want to say when, if, which is probably likely, Kawhi and Paul George miss a game in the playoffs or miss games throughout the regular season, you have Harden and Russ that you can lean on to help you win those games and throughout the West. And I also think a backcourt with Harden and Russ alongside of PG and or Kawhi can probably still win your Western Conference playoff series. I'm not gonna say which teams because I don't know, but I just think that the likes of having Harden in a playoff scenario or just throughout the course of the regular season, that 20 and 10 that he can be on a nightly basis can help the Clippers offense. Versus Russ leading the helm, I think obviously I prefer Harden. Or most people prefer Harden as a point guard versus Russell Westbrook. So I mean I don't know. Either way, I think Harden and Russ will make it work. They got the history of making it work on two different teams, and it's going to be a seamless fit, along with plugging Harden in with Kawhi and Paul George. Those guys just want to score, to be honest, and they're still solid or okay wing defenders. So we'll see how it works in LA. With that being said, though, thank you all for those quick thoughts on the James Harden trade news. I'm gonna take us right into the Week 9 NFL recap, where I want to start with you, Sosa. By the way, don't even want to play the game, don't even want to wait. Is there any concerns around the San Francisco 49ers and, most importantly, your quarterback, Brock Purdy, who's been making some bad decisions at the quarterback position the past couple of weeks as far as intercepting the balls that he's thrown? What pause if you want. But, yeah, how are you feeling about the 49ers? 3-game losing streak. I'm stunned. I'm surprised. And I'm over here just getting excited for Christmas Day. I can't wait to see you guys on Christmas. But as of right now, how are you feeling?
Good question. It's the first time I've been asked this. I'm wrong. It's like the 50th time. I feel cautiously optimistic. Can I say it like that? Brock Purdy has not performed great over the last couple of weeks, but 66 for 77 for 667 yards against the two opposing quarterbacks. That's not cool. That's not good. That's not respectable. You know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Everybody wants to bring up the quarterback. Yeah, he hasn't performed well in crucial moments the last 2 weeks. 2 picks that were one was a freak football play. The other one was a bad football play. And obviously we saw against Minnesota what it was. He threw two second half picks that virtually pretty much ended our chances of winning the game. I'm still optimistic. Team is still extremely talented. I think that the one thing that's been transparent or clear over the last few weeks is the importance of the presence of one Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is a versatile piece on your offense. Obviously, Trent Williams hasn't been available as well for the last couple of games. That's huge. And obviously, I'll be honest with you, when you're relying on a quarterback like Brock Purdy, he needs all the weapons at his disposal. He needs every advantage on every single play. I hate to break the news to you. Yes, he wasn't turning the ball over like hotcakes, but when you eliminate a versatile playmaker like a Deebo out of the lineup, it puts more pressure on guys like CMC, who's already banged up. A guy like Jawan Jennings, who, he's a good chain mover receiver, but he's not Deebo. He doesn't give you the versatility in the backfield. He can't run routes like Deebo. He can't take the ball and turn it into a touchdown from 5 yards out. You know what I mean? He can't do that. So, no excuses. Joe Burrow pulled up to our trap and took it over. He owned it by the end of the game. He beat our ass. So, still, like I said, still a lot of talent in the building. But both sides of the ball are responsible for this. The defense has not performed well. My quarterback has not performed well either. And playmaker genius that people lie about, he hasn't looked that great the last few weeks either. So that's my takeaway. Am I worried? No. Do I think that things have looked as bad as they've looked ever under Kyle Shanahan over a 3-game stretch? Absolutely.
So if your secondary stays the same, mainly with Shardavius, being CB1, and you're heading into the playoffs, do you feel like Seahawks, Lions, Eagles, any of those teams can prop Cowboys? I forgot to throw them out there. I know you guys already took care of business with the Cowboys already, but the way it's looking right now, how are you feeling about that quarterback room, mainly the secondary?
I can't say right now. Listen, if Deebo's in the lineup, I like the offense against any. Again, bro, this is the reality of a football season. Players are going to be in and out of the lineup. You're a Ravens fan. You're familiar with this. When playmakers that are extremely relevant to what you do on a game-to-game basis aren't available, right? People from the outside aren't going to care. They're not going to say, hey, well, he didn't play or so-and-so didn't play or so-and-so wasn't available, right? You can just go with the guys that are available. So Again, am I going to panic? No. This is an experienced team. I think the bye week comes at a perfect time.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, get some guys back, and just quick reset. No, I'm not fearful. Listen, when I know I got to see Geno Smith and whoever Arizona trots out there and Matthew Stafford, the fear level just. I know I'm getting a home playoff.
All right,
Y'all want
but
me to worry about that? Like, come on, bro.
Dmac, when we recorded after week 3, one, you came into the season with a hot take from us. You had the Seattle winning the division. We recorded. You said, I take that back. They're now at the top of the division. Do you want to go back to say Seattle can win the division? And also, what's your thoughts on the 49ers so far the last 3 games?
No, I will stick with my mulligan that the 49ers will ultimately win this division. I do still like Seattle as a team. I do still like them, but yeah, I'm a little. I got to see a little bit more. Their third down offense right now with Geno Smith is not where it should be for their weapons and how good of a player Geno Smith can be. That needs to improve for me to really feel comfortable about them as a team and a serious team as a threat. The 49ers, though, Sosa kind of spoke to it. You're missing Deebo Samuel, missing Trent Williams. This was an incredibly difficult stretch. You're facing the best defense in the NFL, in my opinion, in the Cleveland Browns. And then you absolutely go to Minnesota. A weird game, has some turnovers. Kirk Cousins was able to take advantage of some of those outside corners on certain plays. One of those wide receivers ripped an interception away from one of the San Francisco corners on one of those plays and turned it into a long touchdown. You're just going to have those bad games sometimes, and you end up losing. And then obviously, I think that you face a team that over the back half of the schedule, people are going to rightfully say the Bengals are a contender. You could tell over the last few weeks they've been getting it together. Obviously, coming out of the bye week, Joe Burrow is now healthy. That is a team that is very good on both sides of the ball, and they ultimately were able to come on the road and get the job done off of a bye week. The reality of 49ers, they're still excellent on both sides of the ball. It's just you're seeing a little bit of the cap ceiling of Brock Purdy, and that's going to be ultimately the question mark of when you come up against really good teams. How high is that ceiling for you to overcome some mistakes and still get the job done? Ultimately, though, this is still one of the best teams in the league. I still have them as clear contenders. I think that eventually they'll get Trent back, they'll get Debo back. Coming off the bye week, they'll adjust accordingly, get back to what really fuels that team in the run game, and they'll make those fixes. Ultimately, so that's why I still have the Niners winning the division and still being a contender.
Okay, that's fair. Obviously, during my daily show, there's a lot of, or weekly, there's a lot of overreactions.
I will say really quickly though, they have an extra 3rd round pick, they have an extra 4th round pick. They should go and get Jalen Johnson from the Bears and add him to that cornerback.
Yeah, I woke up to that news as well. But yes, I agree. They should definitely. I didn't even think of that. But I woke up to that news. I seen he requested a trade. They gave him permission. He has what? I don't know. What time was the trade deadline today? 4 p.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m.
Yeah. So he had about 6 hours to go. Hopefully they work something out. Hopefully he gets out of Chicago and he goes to a new destination. I think San Francisco is a perfect fit. What do you say?
Howie Roseman continues to roofie executives of other teams. I don't know how, in God's name, they got Kevin Byard, who's from right around the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Bro,
you talk about.
I was on an airplane when I seen that, and it's funny. The guy in front of me had an Eagles hat on. I said, "Are you an Eagles fan?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "We guys just got Kevin Byard." He said, "From Tennessee, the safety." I'm like, "Yep." Like, oh man, wow! I didn't even know that, and I'm like, "It just happened." It's crazy. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. Speaking of the Eagles, they're 7-1. They just beat the Commanders in a good game. Before we get to anything that's NFC related, again, I want to ask you guys. There's been 4 teams to me that's been performing better than Cincy this year. You have the Chiefs, you have the Ravens, you have the Dolphins, you have the Jaguars. The Cincinnati Bengals are not, to me, if anybody thinks otherwise, that's cool. The Chiefs are now the Bengals are now on a 3-game winning streak. How are you all feeling about them getting back into the mix? And, just what's y'all feelings around the Bengals right now, overall?
Yeah, I mean, look, I said it, I think 2 weeks ago, that I had the Chiefs and Ravens in the contenders tier, and I said the pending was Jaguars and Bengals because both of those teams have excellent difference-making quarterbacks. Both of those teams have the upside of being very good on both sides of the ball with multiple weapons and a good defense. And the Jaguars' defense has been legitimately good at this point. The Bengals' defense is kind of starting to get there, and
Okay, I think he's having sound issues. Yeah, I think he's having sound issues.
yeah, I got a phone call. My bad. Y'all good?
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Cool. My bad. Yeah, so the Bengals have the upside with Lou Amarino, especially in a defensive playoff setting. He can put together a great game plan. So those are the four teams for me. The Bills, I said, and we talked about it on the playback space. We were doing the power rankings.
Yeah.
Losing Matt Milano, losing the interior defensive line that they did, losing with Trey White, that's too much for their defense to ultimately overcome, in my opinion, with how good other AFC teams can be on both sides of the ball. So I don't think that I can put them up in that tier. The Miami Dolphins, I have to see what their defense can come into shape with when they have their cornerback. Obviously, we saw Jalen Ramsey come back, have a good year. So ultimately, I do believe the Bengals will be contenders by the end of the season, and I would put them over Miami and Buffalo from that aspect of it. But look, they're rounding into form, and I generally expected this to be a little bit of a slow process for them on defense because of the young guys and Joe Burrow, obviously with the injury that had to continue to heal. So they're right on track as far as I'm concerned with being one of the best teams in the AFC and a legit Super Bowl.
How you feel about the Bengals? Sosa, 3-game winning streak. Talk about it.
Health matters, man. Health matters in the NBA or in the NFL and NBA and every other sport. I'm getting talked about the James Harden, so the NBA thing is, like my phone has been blown up about this. But yeah, Joe Burrow's healthy. T. Higgins is healthy. Offensive line starting to gel well, and they're a good football team. The offense and defense starting to click on both sides of the ball. Everybody's been in the building, and they're a team that has Super Bowl expectations year to year. They've been in the AFC Championship the last 2 years against Dmac's team. He would know. As much as he doesn't want to admit it, they've become their rival.
Yeah, they are. They are.
You know what I'm
they
saying?
Absolutely.
Again, this is one of the first ones that we're seeing, right? Because that's historically that's what you want. You want these elite quarterback rivalries. That's why they try to push the Josh Allen shit so heavy, because that's what they want. They want there to be some level of competition between these elite quarterbacks. So when you look at the Bengals, you might say they have, you might know that they have other elite players, but the first guy you're looking at is Burrow. Burrow's healthy. Burrow's right. He's looking like one of those guys who's an elite quarterback that, as long as he's right, is going to give himself and his team an opportunity to win every game. That's the mark of an elite quarterback. Struggled to start the year, wasn't right. Now that he's right, I mean, the expectations are being met. That's why you got $200 and whatever million, right?
Absolutely.
My thing about it is, so when you look at the AFC North, you have us, the Ravens, at the top. For those that don't know, I'm a Ravens fan. But also for those that made it this far into the episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Fact and Stats YouTube. I do have my own apparel, as you always will see me in. And if you see me in real life, if you see me online, wherever the case may be, the website is factstats.us. I want to cut out there real quick. The AFC North, you have the Ravens at 6-2, you have the Bengals now 4-3, you have the Steelers 4-3, and you have the Browns 4-3. So the division is rounding up as most people expected it to be. We're also on our own 3-game winning streak, and I'm glad that whatever's going on in Cleveland is just so weird. It's so weird to me that I don't even look into it. I don't even read into it. It gives me weird vibes. I don't know what's going on with the whole Deshaun Watson and all that type of stuff. Women and the players think he's going to play, and then he tried to play, and then they think he's good enough to go, and then he ended up not being able to finish the game, and all that type of stuff. So it's weird. I don't look into it. Still, they just took a loss to the Jaguars. But where I'm going with this is, I'm glad that Joe Burrow's getting back healthy. I'm glad that Joe Burrow's getting back healthy. I'm glad that the Bengals are looking like it's going to be a 1-2 race again, and hopefully, God's willing, we'll probably see them again for get back. But we actually played them in a couple weeks anyway, and I think that game is going to have some real implications on who ends up winning the division, because we can go up 2-0 on them and on the season, and I think if we do that, that sets us up in prime position because we're both going to win around, probably to me, between 11 and 13 games. 11 and 13. So 13 is probably far. Because the Bengals already have 3 losses and we only have 2. So I'll say 10 to 12 games. Let me drop that down a little bit. We're both going to win between 10 and 12 games. So I think if we do beat them again in a couple of weeks, I think that sets us up in prime position to win division. What you about to say, Sosa? I see you. What you got to say? You act like.
Oh no, my thought process on this is clear, bro. Like Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the world right now. I know people will want to have conversations and debates and whatever. I don't care to have them. If you watch this guy operate thus far in this offense, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
You could talk about last week against Arizona. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I feel like that was a gambling event that we saw unfold in front of our eyes. I don't really care what people's opinions are. I think some of the stuff we're seeing is just so out there that like you question it, but there's really nothing you can do, right? Because it's happened. But yeah, I think Lamar, like I said, as far as his operation of this offense and his ability to, he can't make Harbaugh go for it on 4th down when you got the best kicker in the world. I'm just saying. Yeah, like yes, you'd like to see them score touchdowns, but how difficult do you think it is of a decision to know that it's an automatic 3 points every time you put Tucker out there? Just remember, the kicker from the Detroit Lions last night missed a 26-yard field goal.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I agree. And Tucker did miss a field goal that game, though. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's what people are mad about. They're mad about stuff like that, like stalling out in the red zone, which he has no control over. He can't make the receivers catch the ball. And he can't call. He doesn't have the authority to make every single call that he wants at the line, right? He's also had opportunities where he squandered them because he's tried to appease the players around him, like throwing the ball to OBJ for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I was literally about to get to that.
You know what I mean?
I'm on record, and just obviously I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm on record multiple times, multiple years. There's no other quarterback in the league that I would prefer over Lamar Jackson. Dmac was obviously your Patrick Mahomes guy. He had the championships.
No. I've said the same thing as far as Bengals fans when they say they prefer Joe Burrow. It's you have an actual special quarterback. Right. That's your guy, your franchise, and he fits with that the essence of your team. I have no problem with you having that personal preference.
Yeah, he super duper talented, super duper special. I love the little side arm throws he does, no looks, off the funny leg. He's phenomenal, and I think all he needed was one, the right offense, which I think they're slowly but surely coming along, and then 2, reliable options. Not a Willie Snead. I don't even want to say their names. No disrespect to those guys. I don't even want to say their names. But I think when you look at this season now, you're not seeing Odell have the season that many probably expected him to have. I don't even think he had 300 receiving yards on the season. And a lot of balls to him is forced, without a doubt. The offense is going Zay Mark or Mark Zay. So Rashad Bateman to me is not getting fair opportunity or a lot of looks as well. And then you're mixing in Aguilar a little bit just to make him happy or satisfy him.
He gives you a little stretch the field element as well. It's nice to have, and I think he's a competent NFL receiver ultimately, and he's developed into that. And that's important for what you guys need in your room because you guys haven't always had competent NFL receivers, kind of that deep. But I think that Zay has been exactly what you needed for what this offense wants to do. And I completely agree with you guys. Lamar Jackson is playing the best quarterback at that position to this point in the season. There's no doubt about it. I think he should be the MVP frontrunner in my personal opinion. He's been excellent, especially layering balls over the middle. And this is where all of the dumb discourse that we heard as he was asking for his money during the offseason. It's like, oh, but he doesn't really throw the ball well. No, what you're seeing is his passing stats are depressed. When you actually watch the tape, you could tell he has every tool in the toolbox to distribute the football anywhere he wants to on the field because he has the arm talent, because he has the arm strength, because he has the arm, touch and ability to be able to get to different arm slots and still be able to deliver the ball on time, on target. And he's having a lot of fun out there because you can see when guys are actually open, he can feather those balls in when he needs to. For sure. And then you add the dangerous running element, then it takes it to a whole nother level. So yes, absolutely, Lamar Jackson performing an excellent quarterback, the best quarterback in the league to this point. And you got to give that man credit for that. And it's great to see because as a Chiefs fan, he still is somebody that I enjoy watching play football at a high level. It's just fun to watch him play football. You got to say that for sure.
Right. For sure. And I appreciate that coming from you both. Sosa, sidebar. Hopefully you trade me him today in fantasy football. I have him in my league, and I want.
I just got Lamar. I literally just traded for him.
And I want him in the league that we're in together. So I mean, I'm saying that on air. So I want Lamar Jackson, my brother. Can I get Lamar Jackson? Can I have him in one
Absolutely
league and I want him in the other league? Can I get Lamar Jackson today, my brother?
no.
Another
You're gonna
AFC
have
team.
to my dying hands. Listen, this I'm gonna need more than Robert Covington and some picks. All right, it ain't happening, brother. I'm not Daryl
Oh,
Morey.
Look, you're funny. There's another AFC team. So going into the season, widely expected or widely known, I'll say there were four teams that people viewed as contenders in the AFC. True contenders, not playoff teams. Contenders as in you can win it all or you can make the Super Bowl. And to
mhm.
me, this is just my thoughts. If I'm missing a team or something different, just go ahead and cut me off and say, well, no, not true. Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, and Bills. Were those the four teams as far as you can make the Super Bowl in the AFC?
I had the Jags in that group
Okay,
over the
so is that like
Bills.
was that very common though?
No, not common at all.
Okay, cool.
Not common at all. Will
So
not
that's
say
what I
it's
was getting
common.
to.
Yeah.
I think the common, like what was common with those four teams. You
Yeah.
now, and I want to shed shout out to them. This is literally the next team that we're going to talk about. Thank you for even saying their name. The Jacksonville Jaguars. They're now pretty much they knocked on the door last year, and then they came back up to that same exact door and they knocked on it this time. And I think this time they're about to kick it down. They're 6-2. They're on a 5-game winning streak. There's four teams in the AFC that's actually 6-2. Dmac, I want to get your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars. You said you already had them as contenders, Super Bowl threats. In a playoff scenario, which teams out of the four that I just named will want to scratch the Bills off now? Just want to see. You already said you're not too high on the Dolphins, so you still got to see. So the Ravens, Bengals, Chiefs. Which teams out of those three? Which team do you think they're more likely to beat in the postseason? And then just tell me how your thoughts are like, with their level of play right now.
Well, I'll start with the level of play, and then I'll get to that answer.
Okay.
So the level of play from them, their defense has played very well. You're seeing that secondary kind of come together. Tevin Campbell has stepped up his level of play. Josh Allen has been a really star pass rusher to this point. We're seeing Trayvon Walker start to come along as well. Um, you know, the second level of defense is a little bit shaky, but they're trying to get it together. Offensive line, now that they got Cam Robinson back, rounding into shape. Their offense is multiple because of the different weapons they have with Zay Jones, obviously Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, who is playing like a legit wide receiver one. You got to give him credit for that. Evan Ingram, obviously Travis Etienne running the ball has been great to this point. Trevor Lawrence distributing the ball has been what you needed him to do. So as far as their playoffs, again, they were able to make the divisional round last year, and I don't think that was a fluke. Obviously, people will look at the record and be like, "Oh, well, they backdoored their way in." You see what they were in the back half of the schedule. They were a legitimately good team. This year, coming into it, I thought that the addition of Calvin Ridley, giving them an extra element to their offense, a little bit of defensive, kind of development on that side of the ball, I think could really lead to them being a contending team. And to this point, I feel pretty comfortable about that. Now, what I will say is I think that they do need another pass rusher. I think that a guy like Josh Uche from the New England Patriots as a situational pass rusher would be excellent for them, just to give them that extra juice on those money downs to get after these great quarterbacks. As far as who would be a good matchup for them, it's kind of tough to say. It's my first reaction is the Bengals. The reason being is to beat the Bengals, you have to be very physical with your DBs. That's something that the Jacksonville Jaguars are comfortable living in that world with. And you have to be able to get up to the quarterback quickly with pressure. That's something that Josh Allen and the boys can provide at times. That's why I say they need just that little extra juice of pass rush. And I think because of their multiple weapons, they would find ways to get after the Bengals defense effectively. Wouldn't be easy because, again, Lou is a very good defensive player. They have a very good defensive line, but I believe that their offensive line has come along for Jacksonville that they would be able to get it done. So I would say that's probably their best matchup. But ultimately, when you're throwing all four of these teams in there, this margin is slim. These guys can't be knocked off in a given time based on how people play. To this point, I don't think anybody has significantly separated themselves from the pack in that manner. But yes, I do believe Jacksonville does deserve and will continue to prove that they deserve to be in the contending tier, along with those other three teams that you named.
Yes, sir. Well said, my brother. And I like that you're honest. When it comes to you putting all the teams in one boat and nobody separating themselves from the pack. I just can't believe you guys took that loss to Denver, man. It's so disappointing. Uh,
Yeah.
So how were you watching that game, bro? I mean, I know it's going off a little bit, but how are you even watching that game? I'm just seeing you right here now. Just like I just can't believe
Yeah,
it.
so I decided to bring my monitor out on the porch because we got some nice weather on Sunday, and
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, let me just go out and watch it on the porch, and it's like, damn, this is not going well. And I tweeted it out. I tweeted it out in the second quarter because like being a Chiefs fan in the Mahomes era, there are just certain games where we're just like, yeah, we just gonna lose this. It's always the same formula. It's short yardage, bad play calls where we just try to get too cute because it's Andy Reid in the regular season. Not running the ball as consistently as we should because it's Andy Reid in the regular season. Random Patrick Mahomes interception because he's trying to force the ball to Travis Kelce. Wide receiver drop, wide receiver fumble out of nowhere. I had to get a muff punt in there because literally I tweeted out the second. You knew a muff punt was coming because it was just one of those games. And that's exactly what happened and gave him the next touchdown. And you got to give credit to the Bengals for actually capitalizing on those opportunities to get after us. But yeah, it was just one of those games. It's just one of those Chiefs games. But I also tweeted out, I said, look, they're going to sneak in one of these bad losses before November, and this was the one. And yeah, that's the end of it. Unfortunately, can't be a team 16 times in a row. That was or 17 times in a row. We can only get to 16, unfortunately. But shout out to Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos to get it.
Hell of a record, by the way. Record, by the way. Sosa, my guy, Jacksonville Jaguars. I definitely want to talk to you about them. How are you feeling about them? And just your thoughts on as far as the Ravens, Bengals, and Chiefs as of right now. Which one of those you think would be the best matchup for them that they can ultimately beat either that team? You're muted, Sosa. By the way.
Yeah, you ready?
Selfishly, I want to see Lamar play Mahomes for the money. Like I selfishly just want to see that. Jacksonville, I think, will be in the best situation. Will be in a really good situation as far as like possibly having home field based on the state of their division. I don't know how much stock y'all put in Will Levis or C.J. Stroud, whom I love, but it's the season. The schedule's not peaches and cream. So I think Jacksonville's in a good position. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan, as everyone knows. I think he's better than Justin Herbert. I think he's better than a lot of guys that people like on social media and who people love because of advanced statistics. All that kid has ever known how to do is win in his life, and he's done it. I don't even think of his rookie year as his rookie. I think of last year as his rookie year. You have a brand new head coach, new everything. You win the division, get to the playoffs, win a game. Okay, if you want second year progression, that's second year progression, right? Knowing that the head coach was a complete bozo to start his career. Yeah. Then now we expect you to win, and we expect you to go into games as the best quarterback on the field and go win these games. And he's done that. He's doing that. You look at Sunday, bad weather, turn it over a couple times. That's expected. Obviously, how much stock do you put into Kenny Pickett? I don't put much. But again, Jacksonville's a very good football team. They have a good head coach, a good quarterback, a top 5 running back right now in football. Calvin Ridley has had some drops and has had a couple of issues adapting to new system and just new things that the team's asking him to do. And he's getting a full season of just double coverages and stuff to try to eliminate him from the game plan. So, I like the weapons group. I like the running back group. The offensive line is starting to play better. Yeah, they're built to go. But the next 4 weeks will tell you everything you need to know about Jacksonville, which I think we'll find out that they're a damn good football team and they're going to be a contender right there at the end.
Appreciate that. I agree with both of you guys. Shout out to Process if you watch this episode. He went into the season thinking that the Jaguars are going to make the Super Bowl, and they are definitely right on the way to potentially being in the end for that running. We spoke about the Jaguars. We spoke about the 49ers. Before we close and get up out of here today, again, thank you both for coming on. Did you guys have any closing remarks around who do you want to see get traded? I know Leonard Williams just went to the Seahawks. Any other thing that you may want to see as far as the NFL trade deadline today? I'm about to say NBA. NFL trade deadline today.
Well, I said Josh Uche, underrated guy for the Patriots. I think if somebody can make a nice move for him, that could really juice up their pass rush. I mentioned Jalen Johnson, obviously the 49ers. I think that would be an excellent fit to them. Offensively, it's kind of tough. Our team's out of it enough to want to trade some of their weapons. Our team's, out of it and don't want to necessarily support a young quarterback that they already have on the roster. enough to want to trade away their weapons going to be the question mark. It's probably going to end up being a little quieter than or some people might expect. But hey, maybe we get a surprise. See if the Ravens maybe make a move for a running back. Would be very interesting if they can pull away a guy that can be a difference maker out of the backfield. So look, I think it would be nice to get a little bit of a trade deadline movement for sure. And I like that Seattle move for both teams as well.
Facts. I do for both teams as well. When you can land a second round pick for a guy that is pretty good, but eventually will cost you. Your team really isn't really going in a. I don't know what's going on in New York, so I'll just leave that alone.
Season's over.
Yeah, so I mean,
It's over with.
Daniel Jones is returning. I think week 10, maybe this week. Week 10. I think next week. So I don't know. It's been so terrible in New York over the last couple of seasons. Granted, I know they made the playoffs last year, but man, they just been so shitty for the last 4 years, 3 years, whatever the case may be. Granted, Dmac.
They were shitty last year.
They were bad last year too.
They were shitty last year. They just got lucky.
Exactly. They were bad last year. They just got lucky, and then they faced a worse team that was even luckier last year in the playoffs. They got the playoffs.
Having even shittier defense.
Who did they play? The Vikings in the first round?
Vikings. They played the Vikings.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Like that was those teams last year were the most fugazi teams you've ever seen make the play. That's why they got eliminated so fast.
Yeah. And as far as your running back thing, I know we had the Derrick Henry rumors all last week, and then that pretty much shut it down like over the weekend about he's not getting traded. Now it was Josh Jacobs and Saquon. I'm not really putting too much stock into it. If it happens to happen, I really don't think so. And then one thing, sidebar, before I ask Sosa about anything on the trade line. For all you people that feel bad for Davante Adams and say free Davante, please stop. Like
he chose this life.
I know he went to play with Derek Carr and think that's not the type of level of quarterback you go play with to finish your career with, for one. Two, they're just not now he's stuck with Jimmy G and the guys. And Jimmy G sucks. And Sosa can tell you firsthand. I watched that guy lose me the Super Bowl that I bet on, by the way, anyway. He literally lost that game. And I bet on the 49ers that game. I literally bet on the 49ers that game. So, I mean, I'm not on the side of free Davante Adams. He made his own bed, if you ask me. I tweeted it last night to somebody. So I think you're on the opposing side of things as far as, they were a playoff team 2 years ago. I seen something that you were tweeting this morning. They were playoff teams 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
This is where it started. Listen, you find out that the head coach is a gayist and you fire him out of nowhere. You just fire him, right? You Rick Bisaccia is your interim coach. He takes you to the playoffs. You barely lose to the team that ends up getting to the Super Bowl, right. And you hire a guy who has failed as a fucking head coach before. Yeah. If that's not a linear, idiotic move by an organization, I don't know what is. You made the playoffs with the guy. Everybody liked it. They done went through hell to get to the playoffs with him. And then you get an opportunity to get Davante, right? Who only pulled up because Derek Carr's his boy. It don't make it make sense. Like, so again, it's just all stupid. Like, why would they should have just kept Bisaccia? Like the team rallied around him. He got them to the playoffs, bro. They beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the brakes off the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Sure did.
With the interim head coach, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Losing the head coach, going through the worst turmoil you can as an organization. This guy rallied the troops, and you just let him out the building. Idiotic. The dumbest shit I've seen from an organization in the last 3 years.
And I love it.
That's dumb as hell. Like, why would you do that?
He told something I love it. Well, as far as the NFL trade deadline, so before we get up out of here, anybody, any room, any name that you want to see on a move, anybody that you want to see make a move for somebody?
I would love to see Chase Young elsewhere. He's proven that he's healthy. I'd love to see him in a Ravens uniform.
Yeah.
I'd also like to. I know people are talking about Jalen Johnson. I wouldn't mind another pass rusher in San Francisco. Diamond tester we got to pull the diamond tester out on Nick Bosa. Niner fans are gonna lie about him, but he hasn't done a damn thing this season.
Who you want, Montez?
He got them checks, and he been ass ever since. Look at the tape.
Who you want, Sweat? Or you just
I was gonna ask.
I'll take Montez. I take any. Like I said, I take another pass rusher. Like
I think because of the I think because of the investment that they've had in Chase Young, that they will choose to try and keep Chase Young and deal Sweat at the deadline if they're able to get
top 3 pick, can't do it. But this is something I have to outline here. The Niners have gone through 3 different defensive coordinators consecutive years, right? The difference between the two is Saleh knew the D-line. Dmac was a linebacker when he played. And Steve Wilks come from a secondary background, so he knows he's a secondary guy.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the secondary has been so bad does not help his case, because him being a secondary guy, he went with the dudes that we have now, right? He handpicked them, and obviously Ward was a given. He's under contract. He's getting paid pretty good money, and the other guys, he handpicked them. You got Hufanga over the top or wherever they decide to put him on any given play. So again, do we need another corner? Probably. Can any team in the NFL use another corner in week 9 that can really play? Absolutely. I think we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think I could use another reinforcement on my offensive line. Couple things. Jalen Johnson, I like the idea, but he comes with a price tag. You trade for him and give up assets. You got to pay him.
You got to pay him. Yep.
You have a choice there. It's you give up assets. The ink better be dry by the time he decides to go take his physical. Yeah, it should be like that, because you're not going to just go make an investment on a player and give up assets to not know that you're going to have him long term. So.
And the report just dropped while we're doing this that he is looking for an extension. And he wants to hear from teams before the trade goes through.
Okay. Well, listen. Shout out to you both for joining me today. Hopefully we get to do this a couple more times before the season ends. Shout out to Sunday Morning Quarterbacks, Sosa Picks, Dmac. Much love to you both. Again, make sure you all like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all want to shout out anything that y'all do on a day-to-day basis real quick before we get up out of here?
Calling the Shots TV. It's a daily NBA betting space. We go at 8 a.m. every day, and then at 3 p.m. Eastern for DFS and like sleeper, prize picks, all that daily fantasy stuff for all the people who don't have access to sports books. We do that 3 p.m. Eastern every day. And NBA season is going to be great. NFL season has been good. Again, appreciate you having me. Shout out to Facts and Stats. Always familia. I appreciate you.
Much love, brother.
Yes, sir. Check out Beyond Kingdom Cast every Thursday nights. I tell the truth on Tuesday nights, both Chiefs podcasts. I do my Red Friday Spaces. Obviously, you see those Friday afternoon. And, hopefully we can get, we'll got back on Sunday quarterbacks. We took a little bit of a break there for the weekend, a little bit running around. We'll see if we can get back on Sunday quarterbacks for our preview space that drops every Sunday morning with a nice video. So, appreciate you for having on Facts and Stats. Always good to talk to you, Ed.
Thank you.